Today I'm going to be testing 6 erasers to see which one is the best, and if you want to check out any of the materials down below, I do have the affiliate links down there, and that will also mean that you can support the channel further if you want to. I'm actually testing a kids eraser that I had from the 1990s, and I definitely want to see how this one compares to the others. I've got an old Staedtler eraser from when I was at school, as well as a new Staedtler eraser, which is one of the Mars plastic ones, and I want to see how that one compares in this because there's been a lot of great reviews about this new Staedtler eraser. And then I've also heard some great reviews about the Derwent art eraser, so I'm going to be using this eraser for this challenge as well. And one of my personal favourites, which is the Tombow mono eraser that I use all the time, I'm throwing this one into the mix to see how this compares with all the other erasers. And finally, one of my all-time favourites, which is the Faber-Castell kneaded eraser. Again, an eraser that I use all the time, but is it the best? So test 1, we're going to be testing these erasers with graphite. So I have actually created some graphite swatches, and I'm going to be using all of the different erasers with this to see which one I feel performs best in this challenge, I guess. So first of all, I used the kids eraser on the graphite, and then I moved on to the old Staedtler eraser. And I was actually kind of surprised at the results that I got from those erasers, but as I started to use the other erasers, I did feel that I was getting a lot better results with some of the newer erasers rather than the 2 erasers that I used in my childhood. Then the Derwent art eraser definitely cut through the graphite really well, and I'm happy about that because this eraser is predominantly used for graphite pencils, it says, so it did do a really good job of cutting through that. And then one of my favourites, which is the Tombow mono eraser, I use this a lot for charcoal and graphite drawing, so I was definitely expecting this to perform well because I have seen it perform well in the past. And then the Faber-Castell kneaded eraser I use all the time for charcoal and graphite, and I love pulling up highlights and things using this eraser as well. So I actually put the kids eraser in 6 because it didn't do a good job of erasing. The old Staedtler I put in 5th. I actually put the kneaded eraser 4th because it didn't cut through as well as I had hoped. The Tombow mono eraser was 3rd. Derwent art eraser was 2nd, and for this particular test the Staedtler Mars eraser was actually the best because it cut through that graphite like butter. So test 2 is charcoal, and again I'm testing all of the erasers, and straight away the kids eraser caused a real mess and it did not perform well with this at all. The old Staedtler was actually even worse than the kids eraser, which I was really surprised about. It just pretty much smeared charcoal everywhere. I was happy to see that the Staedtler Mars plastic eraser performed a lot better with this than the old Staedtler eraser. I definitely felt like the Derwent art eraser did a really good job of getting through that charcoal, and I was really surprised about that. The Tombow mono eraser, which I use all the time, actually really struggled, which surprised me because I love this eraser and I use it all the time. And then I use the Faber-Castell kneaded eraser, which again I said I use all the time with charcoal. So in 6th place was the old Staedtler eraser because it smeared charcoal everywhere, as did the kids eraser in 5th. I put the Tombow mono eraser in 4th because it struggled. 3rd was the kneaded eraser. It was okay results, but I did prefer the results I got with the Mars eraser, but Derwent actually came out on top on that test. So test 3 is coloured pencil, and I have to admit I wasn't really expecting any of these pencils to perform very well because you can't really erase coloured pencil, but actually the kids eraser did a pretty good job of rubbing through that coloured pencil, and I was really surprised about that. The old Staedtler really struggled and I had to apply a lot of pressure to really erase any of that coloured pencil. Then we had the Mars plastic eraser, which performed better, I believe, but again it struggled at points. I was really shocked at the Derwent eraser. It literally erased pretty much most of my coloured pencil, which I was really shocked about. Then I tried the Tombow Mono Eraser, and I was actually quite surprised at the results this gave because I didn't think it was going to do that well. And then lastly, I did try the Faber-Castell Kneaded Eraser. So let's have a look at the results. So in 6th, I had the old Staedtler. It didn't really rub any of the eraser. 5th was the kids, but it actually did a good job. Then I had the Tombow Mono Eraser in 4th. The Staedtler Mars Plastic Eraser was in 3rd. The Kneaded Eraser I put in 2nd place. And I do have the Derwent Art Eraser in 1st place for the coloured pencil. So test 4, I wanted to see if I could rub out markers, and it was an absolute fail because none of the erasers had an effect with this. But actually that is a good thing for me because I have recently been using markers as undertones for coloured pencil, and I definitely don't want an eraser to start rubbing out my undertones and smudging them. So I was actually quite happy that none of the erasers had any effect on the markers whatsoever, and I just wanted to try them out. So test 5, we're going to be looking at a white pencil, so I wanted to see how well these performed. So first of all, I used the kids eraser, and I was really shocked at how well that rubbed that out. Then I used the old Staedtler eraser, which literally had no effect on it at all. Then the Staedtler Mars Plastic Eraser did a pretty good job. I was really surprised again at the Derwent Art Eraser. The Tombow Mono Eraser did struggle a little bit, and then we had the Faber-Castell Kneaded Eraser. So in 6th again is the old Staedtler eraser. In 5th I actually had the Kneaded Eraser. In 4th was the Tombow Mono Eraser. 3rd was actually the Staedtler Mars Plastic Eraser. 2nd, I actually had the Kids Eraser because it did an amazing job. But in 1st, again, was the Derwent Art Eraser. It did the best job at rubbing the white pencil. So test 6 is pastels. Again, I do use erasers with pastels, so I wanted to see how well they performed. And I did use, obviously, the eraser on the pastel swatches. I probably should have used a darker colour. I'm really sorry. Yellow was a pretty stupid colour to use. But anyway, let's have a look at how well they performed. So again, I actually wasn't expecting any of them to do very well, but I was surprised at how well some of them did. So in 6th place we have the old Staedtler. In 5th was the Kids Eraser again. In 4th I actually put the Staedtler Mars Plastic Eraser. In 3rd the Kneaded Eraser. In 2nd was the Tombow Mono Eraser, and in 1st place again was the Derwent Art Eraser, so it did a really good job of cutting through that pastel. So my final results, I obviously wanted to do like a little drum roll here, so I might add like a sound effect. But I kind of wanted to just do like a little drum roll and tell you what I think of the erasers and what place I put them in. So in 6th place, I actually put the old Staedtler eraser. It came bottom pretty much for most of the test, and it just really didn't perform well. I'm actually glad that they did discontinue this range because it wasn't a very good eraser. In 5th place, I did put the Kids Eraser because although it did perform really well with the white pencil on the other tests, it wasn't the best eraser to use, but it did better than the Staedtler. I did put the Tombow Mono Eraser, which I was really surprised about because this is one of my all-time favourites and one of my go-to pencils, erasers, but I did think there were some other erasers that did better. I do have the Faber-Castell Kneaded Eraser, which again, one of my go-to erasers. I was quite shocked at how it performed in some of the tests, but it did well on the whole. In 2nd place, I have the Staedtler Mars Plastic Eraser, which performed really well in quite a lot of the challenges. And in 1st place, I did put the Derwent Art Eraser because it did perform the best out of all the erasers, and it did actually come top in a lot of my little challenges that I set for these erasers. So I really hope that you did enjoy this video and this comparison of lots of different erasers. I definitely want to do another one of these videos again, maybe with a lot more erasers, throw a lot more into the mix there, but I hope that you did enjoy this. And as I have said, I have a lot of the materials listed down below if you want to check them out. Some of the erasers though are no longer in existence. I don't even know where I got some of them from, so they won't be there, but I do have some of the other materials listed down below, as well as some of the other materials that you saw in this video. But I really do hope that you enjoyed this video. Keep creating, guys, and I'll see you soon, and please don't forget to subscribe. Thank you guys, bye.